The Columbus Blue Jackets had some late offseason drama, and they now have a new coach. Jay Foster of Locked On Blue Jackets is here to discuss that next as we continue the Locked On NHL 2023-2024 season preview. All right, the NHL season is less than a week away, and Locked On season preview coverage continues as we welcome in Jay Foster of Locked On Blue Jackets to detail everything you need to know about the Columbus Blue Jackets ahead of the 2023-2024 season. Jay, what is the biggest storyline surrounding your team coming into this season?
I mean, the Blue Jackets have been pretty low-key over the past month or so. So, I don't know if anyone has heard about what's going on or anything like that. They have a brand new head coach. Again, for the second time in, not even 3 months. Babcock is out. Pascal Vincent is in. And I am thrilled, quite frankly. I wasn't sure that Babcock was the right coach for this team. I liked Pascal Vincent a lot as a candidate. The last time we did all this coach hire, again, at the middle of May, I think it was when it happened. And I think this is probably what's best for the team. I think it's going to be good. He knows the team. He's had success coaching in both the QMJHL and the AHL, so he knows how to work with younger players. And yeah, I feel really good about this hiring, even if it is, I hate that it happened like this, but I am glad that it happened now instead of 2 months into the season.
Do you think the team can overcome the controversy and the drama that played out late in the offseason?
I hope so. I am quietly confident, I think. Of course, we won't know until, they get on the ice and they start playing potentially even regular season games, not even preseason games, because you never really know from a preseason what a team's going to do. Because the Blue Jackets are really good at having a great preseason and then falling apart immediately in the regular season, or vice versa. They have a horrible preseason and then actually string together a bunch of wins in the regular season. So it's really tough to predict how it's going to look until it looks, but I liked Pascal Vincent. He was briefly running the bench for the Blue Jackets last season. Brad Larson took a couple of games away for a personal matter or a family matter, I believe. And the team looked good. I don't believe they won either of the games, but that's not really indicative of anything in terms of the talent with the Blue Jackets last season, because they just couldn't seem to win a game even when everyone was healthy and firing on all cylinders, But I thought the team looked good. I thought he showed promise, and hopefully he can, get the team to rally around him, because I think that's maybe another positive that's kind of come out of this is the team is going to have to band together and overcome, the naysayers in other teams and other fan bases. And well, of course, this is happening in Columbus because Columbus always has drama, and that's why none of the players want to be there, and that's why everyone leaves, and blah blah blah. They have to band together, and I think they have to do it soon. My worry is, and we don't have to get into the whole coaching controversy, because people are probably sick and tired of hearing about the nitty gritty right now. But the thing that worried me the most was whoever, blew the whistle, so to speak, went to Paul Bissonnette instead of the general manager, instead of the captain, instead of any of the other adults on the team. And that to me feels like maybe, if not a bigger problem, then a problem as big as what Babcock was doing in the first place. So that if they can overcome that and they can figure out a way to get the veterans and the rookies kind of synced up again, then we'll be fine. We'll be laughing. But if they can't figure that out, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, a little bit of a red flag there. We'll see and keep an eye on that. What do you think was the team's most significant offseason move, and why? And let's keep away from coaching, I guess, for this question.
Yeah, I actually, I don't think that the coaching has kind of been the biggest impact. I think for me, the biggest impact has to be Adam Fantilli. The Blue Jackets have a legitimate number one center for the first time, maybe in franchise history. You could argue that it was Dubois for a minute. You could argue that it was Ryan Johansson for a minute. Fantilli is better than both of those players, I think, and somehow he fell to third overall. He would go first overall in basically any draft of the last 10 years, apart from McDavid and Matthews. He's good. He is next level good. He's not Connor Bedard, but very few people are, so to get him at third is unbelievable. He solidifies this team down the middle. He gives them yet another strong top six player to mix in with that youth, like Ken Johnson, like Kirill Marchenko, who both had excellent rookie seasons. And I think Adam Fantilli, I'm booking him in for 30 goals, 30 assists, a 60-point season. I think he's going to challenge for the Calder.
Should be interesting to watch. Now, who figures to be the most important player on the Blue Jackets this season, and what makes them so critical to the team's success?
Excuse me. There's a couple of ways that you could go with this. Johnny Gaudreau, obviously, is always going to be important to this team. He was the best player last season. He led the team in points. He was, that big free agent piece that happened for the first time in franchise history, like the biggest free agent signing in Ohio since LeBron James, maybe even bigger, depending on who you talk to. Zach Werenski is another one. We had him for 13 games last season. He got injured, missed the rest of the season. A healthy Zach Werenski is a big part of this team. I'm going to go with Elvis Merzlikins. He was the worst goalie in the league last season, and that's not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. He was the worst goalie in the league by basically every metric. And the Blue Jackets don't need him to be Hasek. They don't need him to be the best goalie in the world. They don't need peak Carey Price in goal, because the team is built to score goals. If they can get league average goaltending out of Elvis, which last season was about a 904 save percentage, I believe, that's good enough for me, frankly, and I think it'll be good enough to get this team into a playoff position. So, I don't think Elvis is going to be the flashiest, most important, best player, but if they get good Elvis, this team is fine. If they get bad Elvis, it's going to be a struggle, I think.
How about a potential breakout player? Who do you think that will be, and what makes them the potential breakout player for this team?
I mean, again, there's a couple of options. I've got to go with Ken Johnson. I thought Ken Johnson had a fantastic rookie season, 40 points in 79 games. Was, I believe, 8 points short of the rookie scoring record for the Blue Jackets. And he got better every single game, it felt like. And it felt like all of the stuff that we expected from him, we got. But we also, so his shot, his hands, the wow factor, we've been calling him a box office player on Locked On Blue Jacket. People buy tickets to go and see him play. But he improved in other areas of his game. His two-way game got better. His passing got better. He is a really underrated playmaker, I think. His skating improved, and that was a big not a big red flag, but it was a red flag enough that a lot of the prospect guys were like, he needs to get better at skating, and he did do that. So I'm looking for him to come out of the gate real fast, real strong, and have a fantastic sophomore season.
So after all of this and the dramatic offseason, what would be a successful season for the Blue Jackets, and what's at stake if they don't achieve it?
I mean, so the answer to this question is a little bit different than it would have been literally 6 weeks ago. If the Blue Jackets miss the playoffs again, Jarmo Kekalainen, I think, is gone. I think his seat is extremely hot right now after the Babcock mess. After, going out and getting Ivan Provorov, picking up Damon Severson, he drafts well, but everything else around Jarmo Kekalainen's tenure has kind of been a little bit lackluster. So I think if they miss the playoffs, I think he's gone. I think this is his last chance, which I think is why he went out and got Mike Babcock, because he was like, right, if my seat is hot, I'm going to make a splash. I'm going to be dramatic and go big, go big or go home. And unfortunately, he went home. So now we've got Pascal Vincent. I think that could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. But to answer the question of success, what a success means for this team this season, the way I've been looking at it is I would like this team to challenge for the playoffs. I know you and I have talked about it a fair amount of the Blue Jackets and the Islanders could be fighting for that last wildcard spot on game 82 of the season. And that, to me, I think that would be success. The team was so bad last year that it's hard to see anything other than being a lottery team again as anything but a success. That was a lot more words than I needed to use, but if they make it into the playoffs, amazing. If they win a round, even better. That's the maximum ambition that I have right now is playoffs, maybe win a round. I'm not expecting this group to win a Stanley Cup. I'm not even expecting them to contend for a cup. I would like them to be competitive. I would like them to challenge for the playoffs. And then if they make it, that's, the icing on the cake.
No doubt. All right. For more on the Blue Jackets, be sure to follow Locked On Blue Jackets on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And check out the season previews for all 32 teams across the Locked On NHL channel, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.